Hey, young investor, welcome to my YouTube channel where I share saving and investing strategies I'm following to stay on track to retire before 40. In this video, I'll be talking about 3 high payoff risks that I took when I was young and that I'm actually still taking that has worked really well for me and helped me make my first $1 million by 30. Sometimes you have to take a risk, but not all risks are created equally. Some risks have rewards that greatly outweigh the potential downside. These risks can pay off big time down the road, but it's important to pick the right one. When it comes to personal finance, there are lots of risks and lots of reward. Taking a few strategic risks can do wonders for your long-term personal finances, but it's important to understand the trade-offs. Almost nothing in the world of personal finance is completely risk-free except maybe a guaranteed deposit with an insured bank. But there are 3 financial risks that I took in my early 20s that gave me early success. You'll want to stay until the end of this video to know all 3 of them. If you understand the potential downsides, taking these 3 financial risks might help you reach financial independence sooner as well. Here's a disclaimer. Always understand your risk tolerance before taking on any financial risk. Your health and happiness is worth more than a bit of a financial gain or the possibility of higher return. Understand the pros and cons before taking any risk. Risk number 1. Invest with at least 100% stock allocation or more in your investment portfolio. Before I dive into what I mean by that, there's this common misconception that holding 100% stocks in your portfolio and not holding any bonds in your portfolio is high risk, but this couldn't be further from the truth. I set early goals in my early 20s to develop a plan to retire before 40. And investing at least 100% or more in stocks is a big part of that. With the 20-year investment horizon, history has shown us that over any rolling 20-year period in the last 150 years, the US stock market has never had a negative return over a 20-year period. As a matter of fact, the average annual returns over a 20-year period is 9%. In 78% of the instances, the annual return was more than 8% per year. And in 59% of the instances, the annual return was more than 10% per year. To maximize my probabilities of capturing as much of the average annual returns of 9% as possible, or even more, I just need to buckle up and be patient and participate in as much of the stock market returns as possible by investing in index funds and not picking individual stocks. Here's a chart that takes 150 years of stock market returns for the US stock market and looks at the annual returns over a 1-year to 30-year rolling period. Starting from the top, you'll see that investing in the stock market for 1 year can be extremely risky. The lowest 1-year return was actually negative 67.9%, and the highest return was 164.11%, with the average return being about 10% per year. The returns are completely unpredictable. However, as you stay invested for longer, the gap between annual losses to annual gains dramatically closes with the 20-year holding period, producing only positive annual returns between 1.15% and average annual returns of 9% and no negative annual returns, making stock market returns a lot more predictable and reliable to depend on than many think. Because the odds are stacked in my favor over a 20-year time frame to invest in, the entire US stock market for a reliable 9% average annual long-term returns, instead of picking individual stocks, I've actually been very comfortable borrowing to invest and taking the additional risk that comes with all the ups and downs that you see in the chart. Earlier, either directly investing in the stock market or through futures options trading, using leverage of up to 300% stocks in a portfolio at a given time. There's very few people I met that have the stomach to be able to invest more money and be willing to borrow money to invest after seeing their account value drop by more than 50%. Even though it's a risk, I find it's worth taking. It's not something everyone should do because they can lose sleep over it and make irrational decisions like not sticking through a full 20-year holding period to reap their true benefits. Giving up and selling everything after a few years when their account value drops by more than half is definitely the worst thing you can possibly do to prevent you from reaching financial independence. Risk number 2, buy a starter home as soon as possible. To afford a $1 million property, which is the price of an average house in the Greater Toronto, with a 20% down payment of $200,000, realistically, you need about $200,000 in household income per year to qualify for an $800,000 mortgage, assuming you have no kids. I'm not sure I know many people that make that much individually and would be able to afford the house on their own. Back in 2016, we were not even 25 yet, but my girlfriend at the time and now wife and I took the chance to buy a 2-bedroom bungalow house in Scarborough with the main floor apartment unit and basement apartment unit with a separate entrance for $650,000. We managed to have just enough saved to get to the 20% down payment to avoid any CMHC mortgage insurance. And the thought of carrying a $520,000 mortgage scared the heck out of us. We talked about getting married, but we knew that buying the house meant we would have to delay our wedding by a few years because we definitely didn't have enough money to even have any wedding. Buying a house was a bigger priority to us than having a wedding. We were pretty sure neither of our parents were going to be supportive of us moving together before marriage, but we didn't care. We bought it before we even told them. Even if we didn't end up moving in together, we knew that we were buying a house with good rental income potential and would be cash flow positive. We could rent out the house, both the main unit and the basement apartment unit, with a separate entrance, and the rental income from both the units combined would have covered the monthly carrying costs. We knew that if we moved in together as planned and we couldn't manage financially, our backup plan was we could always live in the basement unit and rent out the main floor unit out. Financial security was important to us, and owning a house would play a big part to help us get there and give us the assurance that we would not have to move or get kicked out of a place we were to rent. In hindsight, this was the best decision that we made from strictly an investment perspective, because we ended up selling the house 5 years later for over $1 million and buying another house in our dream location afterwards for slightly more. I know some of you may be thinking it was just good timing and we lucked out and it's impossible to do it with today's home prices. I'm pretty certain if houses were $1 million back then like it is now, we would still do the same and buy our house as soon as we could qualify for a large enough mortgage. We would definitely consider even putting less than 20% down payment to start building equity sooner and buy a similar bungalow house with 2 separate units, one where we can live in and the other unit to rent out, so we can qualify for the required mortgage amount to make the numbers work. If you do this, it does mean you won't be living in your dream home or be in your dream location for your first house. But the home ownership dream is still alive for those that are hungry to chase for it. And you'll be able to trade up to your dream home in the future when you continue to build equity and increase your income and savings. Risk number 3, actively switching jobs or employers. Switching jobs frequently can come with large pay increases, but it can also feel very risky. There are potential unknowns like the company culture, work-life balance, future career opportunities, whether your colleagues will be friendly or not, and these are some of the risks you take when switching jobs. This fear of the unknown keeps many people in their stable but underpaying job. Taking a risk and switching jobs can be stressful, but often very lucrative. Switching jobs every 2 to 3 years had been shown to increase your salary faster than those who stick with their current position. These increases can quickly add up, and after 10 years can mean a 50% or more pay difference. When you're in your 20s and 30s, the average increase in income is about 7% per year. And that could even be even higher with aggressive job switching. Changing roles or changing employers can be risky, but over the long term, there is a big potential reward. I personally worked 8 different jobs within 2 years of graduating and saw my income jump from $30,000 as a new grad as an annual salary to over $75,000 a year. This would have never happened if I stayed in the same job and company waiting for a promotion that may never come, no matter all those hours I was putting in. I did feel bad and uncomfortable when I started a new job and had to leave for another role shortly after doing some training and having the company invest time in me. But it is an unfortunate reality with any hiring process to see a new hire leave for another job opportunity. So guys, don't feel bad if that's what's holding you back. It actually happens more often than you know, and I've seen this happen with other colleagues that have come and go in my workplace. Just be professional about it, because you may end up coming back to the same employer in a different role a couple years down the road. It's happened to me on more than one occasion. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you guys enjoy educational content like this, please subscribe to my channel, give me a like, and comment on this video to let me know what you think. Your support means everything to me and is what keeps encouraging me to share quality content so you can learn what I've been doing to retire before 40 and build wealth fast. Between juggling a full-time job and raising 2 little monkeys, I choose to spend whatever remaining free time I have left to make valuable content and help other young investors like yourself reach financial independence sooner and retire early with me. If you're serious about reaching financial independence early, you'll want to check out my website at www.YoungVestors.ca, where I offer free courses and resources to help take your personal finances and investing to the next level. Join and take my free online course titled Millionaire Roadmap to help you learn how to build your bulletproof investment portfolio using index funds.